Hi everyone! If someone can hear me, give me a shout out. I don't know. It sometimes feels like often there's very few people on the live stream in general, but always at the start, and I'm always thinking that it's sort of like having a Zoom meeting or Teams meeting, and if you don't know the people on the other end, it's always like it's not the greatest feeling in the world being the first one, because then you feel like you have to chat with the person that's there. So it's kind of awkward, and yeah, I get that. But rest assured, I do not know who you are on the other end unless you comment something. So yeah, it's kind of easy that way. You're incognito until you give yourself, make yourself known. Is that the expression? I'm kind of unsure. But anyway, we'll see if someone appears here. If you're watching, please leave a comment if you can hear me. Like, the microphone seems to be on, but I never know unless someone tells me. There is also always a bit of lag from when you comment until it appears on my screen, so that's sort of interesting. My computer says that my computer is overloaded, capacity has reached. That's always interesting. For the first time, I'm trying to record this stream at the same time as I'm streaming, so record it to my computer, and I desperately need a new computer because it's really slow, and yeah, it's not a big problem, it's just a problem, or an inconvenience, I should say. So welcome to this 1000 celebratory live stream. I got a comment on my channel a month or so ago asking what we should do for the celebration of this channel, and I do not know. When I reached 1000 subscribers, I ate cake. Reaching 1000 subscribers in the YouTube universe is something, I would say it's something special, because 1000 subscribers is sort of this first step into, I don't know if there's a second step, but it's sort of the first step. Yeah, so that's why we're doing this today. And I thought I'd speak about the books, because that's what we do on this channel. Other than that, I thought I'd speak a little about reading bad books, and because I've read books lately that I felt were bad but everyone loves, and that leaves me conflicted. Also, I thought I'd sum up things. I've been mentioning a lot in recent wrap-up videos that I mainly focus on the books, don't talk about anything else, and well, I don't know if that's boring or not to you, but it feels kind of weird to me at least, so I thought that was important to do. I'm sorry if my chair makes noises. A friend of mine says that it does. I know it makes noises, but I do not know if it's uncomfortable to your ears. You can comment that if you want to. I'll try to make some noise and you'll see if that's bugging you or not. Less noise today, I would say, than usual. I don't know. So, yeah. So why am I know that this might not be the best time of day to do this, because, well, it's 7 or 19 a.m. p.m. and I get too tired, so I have to do them early. And the reason why I'm not doing this tomorrow is that we have Eurovision Song Contest tomorrow, and Eurovision Song Contest is maybe one of the greatest days we have in the course of the year. I love Eurovision Song Contest, and it's sort of just a happy day to be alive. So that's why we're doing this today. So if someone's there and can hear me, please leave a comment, because it's just nice to know that people can hear, I guess. This is one of my favorite cups. It's a festival cup that I got at, what's the name? Mad Cool Festival in Madrid. That's one of the worst festivals I've been to ever, but I like these cups, and some years later and they go in the dishwasher and life is good. I think it's like 8 deciliters or almost 1 liter maybe. It's a huge cup, which helps me when I'm doing live streams. So maybe it's my new go-to live stream cup. I have no clue. So maybe we'll talk about some books, and if some of you out there can hear me, please leave a comment so I know that you're with me or can hear me. I would have felt even stupider if I sat here talking and no one could hear a word. That would maybe be... No, I doubt that would be fun for anyone, because who likes just silence watching a Norwegian sit in front of books? I guess there's someone who likes it. Makes me wonder if someone actually watches my channel without sound sometimes. I would take that as a compliment, but yeah, I really don't know. So, some of these books I might have mentioned earlier, and well, I have shown them to you maybe, but I thought I'd speak a little bit about them. The first one I thought I'd speak about is this one, and it's Juliet Naked by Nick Hornby. So Nick Hornby was one of those authors that I read earlier when I went to high school, and maybe he's that kind of an author, a high school novel author, because High Fidelity is one of those books I've felt most at home in, like this crazy guy collecting records. And yeah, I guess he really enjoys music and football. I don't like football, but music I enjoy, so maybe that's why I like his books. Also read About a Boy, that has the movie with Hugh Grant playing the lead role, came out later on. That's also one that I like the movie and I like the book, so yeah, top score. So that's the first one. I thought this would be an easy read, and I of course need easy reads. I mostly buy thrifted, and well, I couldn't resist. I'll get a little bit back to my reading goals, because I have reading goals that I would like to discuss with you, but I'll save that for a little bit later. Then we have also one that I found at the flea market, and that's Egalia's Daughters by Gerd Brandenberg. The thing about this one is that I wouldn't have picked this one up myself, but Elin from Lunacha Books told me that I should get this, and I did. And it seems kind of crazy after a while, and that's probably why I want to read it now. It seems to be a bit unordinary, not like every other book, I guess. So that's the second one, and I'm sort of wondering if I had trouble making this stream right now, so sort of wondering if people came over from the other stream. I'm not sure. I seem to always have trouble with my streams, and it's a different problem each time. So I'm guessing this time I was denied to broadcast anything, and well, that's no good. And I had to restart both my PC and my programs, but I hope we're live. If someone can hear me, please. Oh, that seems silly, but you know, just drop me a dot on the comments or chats so I know you're alive. I guess this live stream should have the same title and thumbnail and all, so we'll just see. Then I thought we'd go over to the fantasy aspects of things. So I found this one the other day. I hope or guess that some of you have seen this one before. The Priory of Orange Tree. Priory? I don't know if that's the correct word. But this one I've seen a lot of times. It's very popular, as you might know. And the sequel has just been published. There's just something about this cover. I absolutely loved it. I think it's the yellow and it's the dragon, but mainly I think it's the yellow. It looks so sparkly, shiny, and like having these ones in your shelf is something different than having your other black books standing there. I have no clue what this is about. Absolutely no clue, and I thought I'd touch a bit upon that because I buy books just because of the covers sometimes. Of course, I found this thrifted, so it cost me like $2. It doesn't matter at all. But just like some covers just talk to you in another way, I guess. That's at least how it felt like. Let's see here. So yeah. Someone says that they're struggling to see the chat, and I don't know if that's the case. That's too bad. Oh, there you are. Something is wrong with the chat now. Or the Nacha book says was just told dinner is on the table. Well, did this happen now? I'm very confused right about now because this just I have no clue what's happening, but it seems to be working now. Max Libris says audio is okay, and then I guess we're fine. Then we'll just keep on going. This was a new experience for me. It gets kind of hot when things like this happen because it's kind of stressful being live on YouTube sometimes. So, but anyway, now I know that you can hear me and things are okay. This, it's just a perfect example of a book that I'll probably read it at some point. It is hugely popular. It's all over BookTube and Instagram and all those places. And, well, I just want to read a book with such a nice cover. It's very intriguing. It makes you, like, want to deep dive into it. So, a little color never hurts. That's my message to all authors writing books. Sort of throwing them at the floor when I'm finished with them. That's, well, not where they belong. It's just convenient for me. So, the next novel I thought I'd speak a little bit about is a book I bought full price. So that means that I absolutely had to read it. Haven't done it so far, bought it like 4 months ago. And that is Fiskehuset by Stein Torleif Bjella. This novel is... So Stein Torleif Bjella is an artist, grown-up artist. It's one of those artists that just makes it big after they've turned... He looks probably older than he is, maybe. But anyway, this is about a guy going out for a fishing trip and then, I guess, talking about life. That's my impression. But it's very easily read, has this huge font size, which I absolutely love, as many of you might know. And, well, what more do you need? I do not know if books from musicians is something I, like, end up loving, but I sort of believe that that is something I would enjoy. I'm actually not, like, we'll just see. It's probably because I read Patti Smith last year and she's of course awesome, so that might be the case. That might be the reason I was supposed to say. Also, this has kind of like a bluish purplish font instead of like white on black. So that helps, even though it's black. And if anyone of you know what this type of binding is called, I have no vocabulary to describe it, but it has this very tactile feel to it. It's not like it's like the rest of the cover. It feels kind of fabricy. I really enjoy it, and several novels that I've read lately have that thing to them. It's the combination of having a book that's easy to fold at the same time as it looks kind of vintage, I guess. Something along those lines. I guess that few vintage books has this lining, but this one has, and I absolutely adore it. So, we'll go on a little bit and see here. The next one is this. Strange Weather in Tokyo by Hiromi Kawakami. And this one was suggested by one of my friends on Instagram, and seems kind of quirky. It's a fantasy, but like urban fantasy, I would say, or guess, and it just looks kind of cool and weird. I like that. I find that to be. I'm just assuming that that will be fun, and it's supposed to be. So this one I'm glad that I bought, and also with the color, I'm happy it is kind of colorful. Yes. So let's see here. I thought maybe later I would speak a little bit about reading goals and search. And now I'll take a book that I found, was it yesterday? No, the day before that. And that is Uncle Oswald by Roald Dahl. This is supposed to be his only novel not targeted at kids, so for grown-ups in other words. And I do not know more about it. I just read some pages when I was at the store and I really enjoyed it. Maybe it's just the fact that it's easily read. I tend to like things that are easily read, so that bodes well for this one. So last year and the year before I had tons of book hauls. I do not know why the chat is disappearing all the time. So this live streaming tool is an enigma to me. But anyway, last year and the year before I did a whole lot of book hauls because I wanted to have a lot of books, and I really enjoy the concept of going into stores and buying books or going to flea markets, etc., etc. So this time around I'm trying not to. So I think this is actually my first book haul thing since Christmas, and I can't say anything other than that I'm a bit proud of my efforts, but I also think that I'll give up in a month or two because it's really difficult not buying books. So that's out of the way. The next one I thought I'd speak about is Tara Westover, and this is Educated. The Norwegian edition, it's called something like Something Lost and Something Won, which I guess refers to the loss of her family, or I'm not sure. I find that title to be very, very bad. So this one I read earlier this year and absolutely loved. So basically now I'm just buying all of them I can find thrifted. And as you can see, this is in very nice condition. It seems not to be read at any point. And well, I'll probably end up giving these ones away to a lot of people this year. And I'll be happy that I did, because it's a great book, and well, I don't know. I think most people would enjoy reading it. Many people, at least. If its short stories are any indication, you're in for a ride and a half with Dahl there. Yeah, I guess so. Let's just see. Looks like some of the text on the chats are a bit out of the window. There we go, I guess. That looks better. Yeah, I hope so, and I guess I will read more of Roald Dahl's books later this year. I do enjoy children's novels, and it's actually been some months since last time I read any of his novels, so we'll just see. But I do miss reading children's novels. They're more fun than other books in general. Yeah. Anyway, I almost didn't buy any books last week, but then I thought I was supposed to do this, so I needed books to talk about today, I guess. That sounds stupid. It makes me portrayed as weak, I guess. Which I absolutely am, so that's the correct assessment. But anyway, the other book I found at the same store last week is this one, and it's De kaller meg Ulven, or They Call Me the Wolf by Cezanne Chacard. This is his third novel, and I've read the two first ones. The first one I absolutely loved. The second one was okay. It didn't add too much joy into my life, but it just wasn't as good. But many people have said that they enjoyed this more than the second one, so I just have to trust them. If I'm remember correctly, this is about like arranged marriages and more about like, so he is what's it called? His parents aren't born in Norway, and so it's about the environment that he grew up in here in Oslo. It's around where I live now, and this is more about his parents' generation, I guess. Might just be something I pulled out of nowhere because I'm not quite sure, but this has been so much talked about on the internet that I feel like I know at least a little bit about the story, I guess. Lunasha says that she's been fed, and that's kind of impressive. That was very, very quick. And welcome to Herr Død, or Mr. Death. Always a pleasure to have you around, I guess. Yeah, so that's this one. Lunacha has also spoken very highly about this one, so I guess I will find out if I like it or not. Probably I will listen to this on audiobook when it comes out, for no apparent reason other than that I enjoyed the two first ones on audiobook. So that's the thing. So, a novel that I felt like I shouldn't have bought, and I didn't buy it, I found it for free. So in my last video I showed you guys how we have these red kiosks around in Norway, these old phone booths where you can find like free books, and I have this one place where I go quite often to find free books here in Oslo, and let's just say that it's easy for me to pick them up when they're free. And that is this one, American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis, and this has been much talked about lately since he just released and published a new book. And I've seen the movie, but the book is supposed to be so much worse. So I've heard that there were several things about the movie that they just had to cut out because it was too gross. So I've never really read the book that's in that sense like yucky or scary, or what I should say. The same thing about Handmaid's Tale, where the series just freaked me out a bit because it's too disturbing. I'm afraid of reading those books. I'm also a bit nervous about reading this one, but I found it for free and those doesn't count. This is also a new edition, so it was kind of weird that I found it and it hasn't been read. I often picture people getting offended by like books people buy them and then they just give them away for free. I haven't found any other explanation so far. Lunacha says, hello, congrats on your 1,000 subs. I have had dinner. Yeah, thank you so much. We'll get back to that a little bit. So, Mr. Death, where are you calling in from today? Where are all of you calling in from today? And Insomnia Film says, farmers and booktubers apparently know to eat quickly to get back to work. That might be right. Efficient people. I just assume that people also read when they eat. I do, at least. Your video, what do you say in English? Videon din hakker. My video is, what's it called? Lagging, I guess. Don't know if it's due to something on my end. There's some dropped frames on my end too, but my internet is pretty bad, so I assume it was just me. Well, I'm streaming at a higher bitrate. My computer says it's okay now, but you never know. I'm sort of using, according to my own computer, I'm using 80% of its capabilities, but I'm pretty sure I can't do anything about it now because then things are going to get a bit ruined. So I hope it's okay. Just tell me if it's getting worse, I guess. It's hard. It's difficult to see from here, but just let me know if it keeps on continuing being bad, I guess. So we'll continue with the books, and the next one is Arvingen by Anne Gunn Halvorsen and Randi Fuglehaug. Arvingen is called the person that inherits stuff. Well, I'm just giving up on this one. But this is a YA novel, and many people on Norwegian BookTube loves it. And some people told me when I said that I bought it that it's like the plot is good, but it's badly written. And that isn't the worst thing for me, because I like the plot and I don't know anything about writing, or at least that's what it feels like. So if it has a good plot, I'll probably like it. And this is very, very easily read. Also one of those I found for free. So yay for free books. Free books is sort of saving me this year. Maybe I'll take the time to talk a little bit about it, because I have this goal where I'm supposed to read the double amount of the books I buy to get rid of books in my shelf. And so far this year I've read 42 books. I'm pretty satisfied with that. That means that I'm well on my way to reading 100 books this year, which is my goal. It's a stupid goal, because reading 100 books a year isn't like sort of the best goal to have, I guess. But anyway, 42 books I've read, and then I've bought 23. So already there I'm a bit behind schedule on my buying. And 23 books isn't bad. I feel like that's like a good amount of books to be buying, and I could reach my goals. But then I found or received 10 books this year. Oops, that makes it a total of 33 books, and then we're almost at the level as the books that I have read, and that's not a good thing. But I've talked about this sometimes earlier, that if I get rid of books, I could sort of get them off my list, make it not count. So far I've gotten rid of 8 books this year, which I'm very happy that I've done. But like, I think the most important thing about this is to get rid of the books from my shelves, and having more shelves, or having more books in my shelves that I've read. That's my end goal. And if that's the focus, it might be worth just taking the books I'm getting rid of and like getting them away from my goals. Did that all make sense, or am I just rambling now? I don't know, but I have some books here with me today that I'm getting rid of, and I'm very happy with my decision. This is something I've thought about for a long, long time, probably around 10 years. The only difference is that 10 years ago I didn't read a single book, but now I do, and that is to get rid of David Copperfield novels. These are very, very old. They are good looking, but I'll never read this edition ever. So it's written in an old Norwegian language, which I'll struggle more to read. It's not moldy yet, but I've just imagined that it will be moldy at some point, and well, who needs that? So these will probably go. No, these will go. These will disappear, because I'm not going to read them. So it's as easy as that. So I did a refresh, and it seems to be much better now. Well, good. I have read Arvingen. It's mean the heir, yeah. The heir of Slytherin. It's the first thing that comes to mind. I'm not sure you'll like Arvingen, Øystein. I actually didn't. And the Netflix film was even worse. Royal Teen, bad Norwegian acting. Is that the same thing? Well, I learned something new, because I didn't know that that series was the same thing. But then it means that the book is better, at least, which might be nice. I don't know. It seems like a very quick read, and I need some quick reads soon. We'll get a little bit back to that later on. And God, I love a specific way God, I love the specific way bad Norwegian acting is bad. Well, yeah. I think I know what you mean. But I also think you have a very more precise thinking of it than I do. I don't know what I'm getting at. And so the David Copperfield books are leaving me. And I also have more Charles Dickens in my shelf that I haven't yet began reading. And so it doesn't matter. I need more shelf space for the books that I want to be reading or think look pretty. And the next one is a book I've mentioned earlier. It's Arthur Pasaline, Den Ulne Mølleren, the Owling? The well, my English is just disappearing day by day. But I talked about Arthur Pasaline the other day because I read a second novel from him that I didn't enjoy but should have enjoyed because the plot is just crazy. And now I have yet another one of his novels standing behind me, which is his most famous one. It's the Year of the Hare. I don't know. I suppose that one would be translated because many of his hasn't been, but well, some of them has to be, I think. Thank you, Bianca, and welcome to the live stream. Love, hate. Yeah, Royal Teen is a film and not the same as Young Royals, which I actually quite like. I haven't seen any of them. Is your kids too young to walk in the parade on Wednesday, Øystein? I don't know. I don't think they have a thing for them. I don't know if they have a thing for them yet. Well, on Wednesday we're celebrating our National Day. What's it? Constitution Day? Is that the word? I guess so. Yeah, Constitution Day. And it's the big thing in Norway where we go in this parade and we're really, really, really fond of our country that day. But my kids are too young, or they go to kindergarten the day before and they walk around with flags that day, I guess. I think that's the thing. We're planning on eating a lot of ice cream and sausages, or maybe just the ice cream, I don't know. So that's what we've planned. Yeah, so, well, that's sort of how it's going with my reading goals. I can speak a little bit about having 1,000 subscribers because that's one of the things. I said very, very early on that I was asked what we should do for my 1,000 subscriber celebration. I'm in general very bad at celebrating anything in my life, so that's why I haven't planned anything specific. I had thought about doing this ultra reading marathon, but that'll come a little bit later. I reached 1,000 subscribers before I thought I would, so I haven't had too much time to plan it. But as I began saying when I started this stream, is that 1,000 subscribers is sort of the big thing on YouTube because it's the time when you can get monetized, and so the 1,000 subscriber mark is a thing. It doesn't really matter because there are many other things you have to do to get monetized, and if you're monetized, that won't mean anything at all, I guess. But anyway, that's the thing. And well, I guess all YouTubers have a goal of like getting a certain number of subscribers, and 1,000 subscribers is the only goal I've had relating to subscriber count on YouTube. Now I don't have any, so that's pretty nice. The fun thing about this is that I told myself that since I'm bad at celebrating things, I told myself that when I reach 1,000 subscribers, I'll buy a cake. And my person that I live with said that if you get 1,000 subscribers, I think we'll say that we'll wait until you get 1,005 subscribers, because then we're certain that you don't lose them all in a day or two. And the fun thing is that I reached 1,005 subscribers that day, and now I'm back at 1,000, so now I'm pretty nervous about losing my one subscriber again, just because it looks very much nicer having it says 1K instead of 999 on my YouTube channel, which means absolutely nothing, but I find it to be quite satisfying. And I'm happy that I ate cake. I felt good. It felt good that I celebrated something in my life. That sounded more sad than it was supposed to be. But that's how it is. I remember, like, last year in February, I got a lot of subscribers, and many of those, or maybe some of you that subscribed to my channel those days, have been very active on this channel. So I'm sort of weird that a lot of people that are commenting more than others came in the same period of time. It's just a fascinating thing, I guess, about all of this. But thank you to all of you that comment on videos, because that is the fun thing about doing YouTube. YouTube would be very boring if I just sat here and made videos, or if I just went outside and made videos. I wouldn't have to publish anything, because why publish videos that wouldn't have gotten any interaction? That just doesn't make any sense. So thank you. Let's see if something's happening in the chat here. Are your kids? Who would have thought I speak English at home? Well, I celebrated the 17th of May in London once. It was crazy. Why was that crazy? Was there a big celebration there as well? I've been to the city center here in Oslo once on the 17th of May, and that is pretty crazy, because you can't really go anywhere. It's just too many people. And Insomnia Film says, hooray for sausages and brass music day. Yeah, I play drums, so I played in those marching bands when I grew up, so that's good memories from 17th of May, I guess. So let's see here. Favorite cake flavor? I have to admit that the reason why I bought cake was that cake bear a significance when it comes to a celebrating thing. If I would make myself what I usually make myself when I celebrate things, I would have made cinnamon buns. That's usually what I make, because cinnamon buns is the thing I enjoy the most. I like cake. This time it was like a normal, what's it called? A normal whipped cream cake. White cake with like marzipan on top. An ordinary celebratory cake. I also enjoy chocolate cake. I enjoy everything with sugar, but I usually prefer making like cinnamon buns, because that's nice. Thank you for the question. I'm super happy that I've passed 300 subscribers. Yep, and you should, Ellen. I'm trying to celebrate all things. So reaching a new number of 100 subscribers has made me very happy over the course of these 2 years as well. Just because more people comment that way. I think that's like that's the most important thing. I thought maybe I'd just continue a bit with the books I've bought after I take a sip of this na water for explanation. The next one I also bought for... No, I didn't buy it, I found it. The next one I also found for the cover. And that's this one. Before the coffee gets cold. I don't know why I've seen this all over the place lately. So a little while ago, I don't know when this was first published. Let's see what it says. 2019, and that's about the time I thought. But lately this has been all over BookTube again. And suddenly I found it at my usual free phone booth pickup place, which made me happy because I enjoy the colors again. And please leave a comment if you have any like feelings about this, but I really enjoy looking at the gorgeous cover and just picking it up because it looks nice. I have no idea if this will be something I would enjoy, but I enjoy looking at it, and that's sort of enough. I would every day of the week like exchange this for this just because it looks happier. Do you see what I mean? Like, just looks more vibrant, I guess. So that's a thing I enjoyed picking up. Also in the same line of books, I guess, as this one. It's Transcendent Kingdom. I knew the title from before, but I couldn't say that I recognized the cover. And I'll say something that's a bit... What am I thinking about? It's a bit... awkward? Maybe awkward is the right word. I thought this novel was written from by the same person that wrote this one, so Hanya Yanagihara. Like, I have no... I think that YA is the reason why I mixed them up so much. I have no, like... Yeah. I don't know. If it's not like this is a short name. This is a very long name, and this is a pretty short name, so that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's... I thought they were from the same author, and that's one of the reasons why I bought them. Found this. For this also was free. But I really enjoyed this aesthetic as well, so that helps. Yeah. Many Norwegians go to a pub in Covent Garden called Judy and Punch, and it was filled to the brim, and people sang Ja vi elsker, our national anthem, over and over again. Oh, yep. I celebrated 3,000 followers and 10 years on Bookstagram in April. Well, yeah, that is pretty impressive, and like, it's an incredible stamina, I would say. There is something to be said to pick up a book for the aesthetics, but I've been fooled by bad books and good covers one time too many to trust the cover entirely. Yeah, I agree. But I do also like the title of this one very, very much. I think it's just the wording. It's not like the message or anything. It's just how it sounds. And with that said, I'm not going to try to repeat it, because me saying it out loud in my head and out loud into the microphone is... let's just say that those are two stories and not one. I've set aside time to watch YouTube videos tonight. I'm so behind. I know that feeling. It's weird going from like watching YouTube videos a whole lot to never watching YouTube videos because you're filming and talking on YouTube. It's kind of sad, but I have some days where I just go through a whole lot of booktubers, and it's really, really fun. So, the next one is a book that I very purposely bought. And this one, I feel kind of stupid because I don't really know what this is about either, but at least this one is highly recommended to me by booktubers. So it's The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. This cover I also like, and that's kind of crazy because I'm not a very dragony person, so enjoying like a dragon cover isn't something I thought I would ever say that I enjoyed. But some of my favorite booktubers just love this one, so I thought, why not give it a go? And on the same plane is this one, The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. And I say on the same page because they're both the same size and they're both white. Like, I feel like I'm saying too much by saying too little now. This one I've read a lot about. It's supposed to have a lot of Chinese culture in it, and a lot of Chinese, what is the word? Like ancient, not rumors. It's talk about things that have happened in their culture, like we have our Jesus Christ. Now I keep on forgetting it. It's sort of just supposed to build on the history of China and what they have believed and told through stories through the centuries. Thank you. Thank you. So that's one of the books that I've been thinking about reading for a long, long time. And R.F. Kuang seems like a very cool person. She has been out protesting a lot the last years, so I've seen a lot from her on Twitter and like all over internet. So that helps. I don't mind reading books from asshole authors, but it helps when they're all right people. I feel like that's a good thing. Yeah. Dragon, awesome cover. I'm dragony person, yeah. Maybe that's not a word. I'm not completely sure. But I did not enjoy dragons at all before I watched Game of Thrones. After I watched Game of Thrones, I still liked Game of Thrones for other things than the dragons, I guess. But dragons are okay. I'm not a dragon hater. I just prefer my urban fantasy before my swords and dragons fantasy. So far, but we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. A fun thing happened the other day. I've been visiting this one person through my work for like maybe 7 years, and I've never really spoken to him that much, but it's apparently a thing that he likes fantasy, and I just enjoyed that concept so much, like having a person that you've met many times, not maybe spoken about hobbies or anything like that, but once a person knows that you like reading and books, you have a whole new universe of things to talk about, and he apparently only reads sci-fi and fantasy, and I feel like there's not that many people of them, or at least I felt like just I got to know him on a whole nother level. Even though I can't really say that you can say much about the person just based on the books they read, but I feel like I can, in a way. Yeah. It's a bias that we have, at least, that you feel like people that read books are better people than other people. I feel. I read Babel by Kuang in April. It was really good, yeah. And that's one of those covers that I truly enjoy the look of as well. I prefer fantasy where it turns out your cab driver is a dragon in disguise or whatever. Yeah, I must admit that I do enjoy the absurd aspect of things, like with Ben Aronovich and the Rivers of London, where the rivers are very, like, important characters to the story. I like that very much. Also with Neil Gaiman and his novels, they can be quite quirky as well. And speaking of quirky, I guess one person is more quirky than Neil Gaiman, or at least that's my impression, and that's why I picked up these ones. So I have been meaning to read I've been meaning to read him for quite some time. Terry Pratchett has been with me from the start of this project through Good Omens, and then it just stopped. I'm so happy that I found both of these at the same thrift store. I've sort of decided never to buy new Terry Pratchett books now, because I find them one at a time at thrift stores, or two at a time. Now I have 4 of these. And the fun thing was that I was thinking about which one I should start reading, and these 2 are the 2 I was considering reading the most, and that's only luck, I guess. And here the other day, I've only, like, this one is the one that I always thought I'd start with, but so many people have told me through the last couple of months that I should start with Mort. So I'm thinking that I should start with Mort. Like, my brain is complicated sometimes. Things are more difficult than they need to be. But anyway, that's where I'm at. And I'm very much looking forward to reading Terry Pratchett. I hope he is as crazy as they say he is. I'll get a little bit disappointed if they're not like very, very absurd books. That's for sure. but I'm thinking that they are, so it'll be good. So, have you read any good books this last month? I always ask that when I do my wrap-up videos, and I don't know, are people afraid of being judged by what they read? I don't know. Yeah, I thought I'd speak a little bit about that since I've done 2 wrap-up videos where I've sort of said that I'm hoping to do a live stream soon, and then we can talk about all the things that's bugging me in my life. That's not completely true. This won't end up being like an appointment with your psychologist or psychiatrist. That's a difficult word. But anyway, I said this at the beginning of this live stream as well, but I might repeat it. I know that this is not the ideal time of day to do a live stream, but I get very tired, and I thought it's better to do it like when I'm awake than when I'm asleep. It just looks better. And the other thing is that tomorrow is Eurovision Song Contest, which is probably my favorite day of the year. It's a day that I look forward to like the whole year in advance, and it's just fun watching all the European countries and their crazy contributions. One of the funnest things about the Eurovision Song Contest is like thinking about what went through the collective heads of a nation before they sent out this into the world. And it's not to say that Norway doesn't send absurd and weird contributions to this show, but it's just like, yeah, sometimes it's just very weird, and I absolutely love it. It's beautiful, the whole thing. I read the Kalle meg ulven recently, and that was really good. Yeah, I know we talked about that not that long ago. I'm hoping it will be good, and I think maybe that my person that I'm living with will read that one before me, because she really liked the 2 first ones. So the other thing I thought I'd mention was that when this month I'm trying to do something different with my wrap-ups. So usually I sit down at the end of the month and I talk you through the reads that I've done and try to summarize a bit. This month I'm actually trying to record the books while I read them, or when I just finished reading them, to see if like my memory is better and my book reviews become better that way. I'm not really sure, but here's to hoping. Because if I read 10 books a month, something will be lost on the way. So I thought if I just do it like right after I've read them, maybe it'll be better. And then I can always summarize towards the end of the month when I've finished reading them. So I thought that would be good. It's like, yeah. So I will save other good reads for your videos to comment later, I guess. Yeah, that's appreciated. No, I'm joking. It's never easy to know what will like trigger people to comment a YouTube video, and I never comment YouTube videos unless I'm really engaged in something. So I get it. It's just many of the people that comment my videos, when I'm asking something specific, they answer something else. Except one person, because I don't have that many people commenting my videos, so I'm very aware of the people that comment, and I do like my commenters, as I tried saying earlier as well. Yeah, I'm going to quit talking soon. I sometimes finish a book on my commute and then just pick up the next. So yeah, I'm the same way. I always jump from book to book without any pause in between. It just feels wasteful to take breaks. So the next one I found for free is a book I'm not sure I'm going to read, said the guy who's trying to buy more books that he knows he'll read. And that is is it called The Double Ganger by Dostoevsky? Something along those lines, I guess. And the reason why I picked this one up is that it's free, and it's also the same edition that I have Crime and Punishment, The Brothers Karamazov, and The Idiot in. So now I have 4 books that looks boring. It doesn't make any sense really, but yeah, they're the same edition. So even though the editions are boring, I tend to enjoy them being the same edition. And I've read 2 of them and 2 of them not, so they will be separated in my shelf, so it's not like it's going to be 20 centimeters of this, thankfully. But now I have like 4 miniature versions of Fyodor. So that's something. He looks kind of cool, I must admit. I think all Russian authors from the 1800s have that rugged aesthetic to them, I guess. And then it's this one also picked up free. Men in My Situation by Per Pettersson. I don't know if that's the English name for it, but I read his novel Utestjäla Häste some years ago. That became a huge hit and was made into a movie and translated to a whole lot of languages. I guess it won a couple of Nordic awards as well. Just a huge hit. And I probably read that one in 2009, so almost 15 years ago. Maybe it's time to give him another go. And again, I found this for free, so it's quite easy to pick up. Then we have, I guess this will be my last book on this whole. I think I've mentioned this before, but it's Be My Baby by, like there, Ronnie Spector, so part of the Ronettes, and married to Phil Spector at some point, which is a crazy, crazy producer man and a crazy, crazy person. So I guess that's why I wanted to read it, and now I saw that it's being made out to a movie and made into a movie, and it's being released this fall, I think. So I have to read it before that happens. I'm sort of a sucker for people, miserable people, like miserable people in the 60s, and famous people, I guess. So I saw that book when trying to Google, now I've read Patti Smith, what do I do now? And this one turned up quite quickly after that happened. So the internet says I will love it, and I'm thinking that I'll have to trust the internet this time. So probably I'll read it quite soon. Has an introduction by Keith Richards, so what could go wrong? But basically that's the last book of the books I've bought this year, and it feels good not having bought too many books. So now I just have to get rid of more books. I'm hoping that I'll get rid of 4 more books before the weekend ends. Maybe I'll do it after Eurovision Song Contest, because then I might be in a bad mood and being miserable for maybe obvious reasons, I guess. I've only read Outstealing Horses by Patterson. For me, it was a big yawn. Have you been to a good gig concert lately? I haven't been to a lot of concerts lately. So, the last concert I went to was Jason Isbell at Centrum Scene. That was really good, but not as good as it usually is. But now the festival season is closing in, and I have a lot of plans for my festival season this year. So I'm hoping that will be cool. I also bought tickets for a band called Earthless this fall. Those I haven't seen in many years, so that will also be good. Yeah. I thought I wrote on my wall, is that on the community tab, I guess, on YouTube, that I speak a little bit about reading books I don't like. And the reason is that I'm currently reading this one. And I think that Jon Fosse might be one of those authors that I really feel like I have to like him one reason why I think that is because I like him as a person. He seems like a very quirky and fun guy in a very Western Norwegian kind of way. That doesn't make sense to most of you, but just watch an interview with him and maybe you'll understand. He's quite the understated, kind of shy guy, but he writes books like this. So I'll talk more about this soon, but it's just a feeling of reading a book where you don't quite understand the hype at the same time as you feel kind of stupid because everyone likes Jon Fosse, or I know that not everyone likes Jon Fosse, but a whole lot of people like Jon Fosse. He is being nominated for awards all the time. He lives in a honorary building here in Oslo because he's such a grand writer or a playwright, and I don't know if any of you other people out there have the same feeling, but it makes you doubt yourself reading a book like this one and thinking, is it just me, or is this just a bit... It's incredibly slow, so that's probably one of the reasons why I'm struggling with it. And it's not like it doesn't have its moments where I feel like, well, this is going somewhere and I'm actually enjoying aspects of this. It's just a total sum of, I don't know. Did some of this made any sense? Did some of this make any sense? I have no clue. I just doubt myself when I read books that I don't like. That's all. Judith says, who are your favorites at Eurovision? I have to admit that I never watch the semifinals because I don't like to spoil anything before the actual show. So I get really, really hyped up for the show when it happens, and then I spend months and months listening to the artists afterwards. But I try I try to make it all in the moment, I guess, if that made sense. Do you have any favorites for this year's Eurovision? I've seen a lot of the contributions, but I remember them more visually than audio-wise so far. I recommend Morning and Evening by Fosse, and I'm interested in that. Would be curious about your thoughts about this one. That didn't seem that interesting. Yeah, Morning and Evening I've seen, or I've thought about buying it, but I have still these in my shelves, so I will have to get through them. And I read the trilogy. That one I had the same feeling. I couldn't quite get into it, and I think Insomnia Film says, I find Fosse surprisingly hard to read, considering everyone tells me reading him feels like a breeze. I very much agree. Might be the punctuation or lack of thereof. Yeah. This is about 600 pages, I believe, or 500 pages without any punctuation at all. And I told a friend of mine that it's harder reading Norwegian Nynorsk, which is my native tongue, than reading bokmål. I don't know the English word for it. But the other Norwegian language, or even English, I read this slower than I read English, and that doesn't make any sense. But it is something about... There's a lot of repetition. You're wondering, have I gotten this correctly? And, well, I'm not quite sure, but it's hard to digest at least. That's for sure. Getting it all into your system and thinking about what you've read now, that is... It takes some time, I guess. I found the sentences to have small breathing breaks naturally, even without punctuation. Yeah, I'm not the person that don't like... I read the trilogy by Jon Fosse without even noticing how little punctuation it is, so it's not my biggest concern, but maybe now I focused on how I read it rather than reading it. That's something that happens where you have your own voice in your head rather than just reading without thinking. That's a lot easier, I guess. I only listen to them at the semifinals. Thus far, my favorites is Czech entry, but I have made my peace with Loreen winning again. Yeah, the Lorraine contribution I have heard, and well, I'm not the biggest fan of that one, but of course Euphoria is one of the best contributions ever, I guess, or at least I thought so when it won, and I still listen to that occasionally, so I have nothing against her, but there's also something about people competing for a second time around. It's I don't. Couldn't you just be happy with the one time you won the Eurovision Song Contest? Wouldn't that be enough? Oh, I don't look down upon them, but each time a Norwegian artist tries to re-enter the Eurovision Song Contest again after winning, it sort of feels weird. But I'll have my eyes on the Czech contribution. But does this mean that you don't watch the finals? Or it's just that, yeah, did I misunderstand? I have watched some semifinals earlier, and I do enjoy many of the contributions that don't make it to the final, and that's sort of what's bugging me, because if I then watch the final, I'm always kind of sad that there were some bands that didn't make it that should have, because they're funny. So I don't know. I like the fun in Eurovision. It's not for the quality of the music, it's mostly for the fun. It's probably a thing you get used to. My brain has not crocked in quite yet. Have you tried it on audiobook? I've seen that the audiobooks are available in my audiobook app, and I'm considering trying to listen to the second half, so I'm about halfway into this now, so maybe that's what I'll end up doing. Who knows? Yeah, Johnny Logan, yeah, that's a different story, I feel. He has competed too many times, so that's... well, what more can you say? But some people end up being Eurovision Song Contest rather than just competing, I feel. That's... yeah. I guess that's how I view it. It's... yeah, at least I'm looking very much forward to next... tomorrow. To clarify, I don't listen to the songs before the semifinals and then the finals, of course. Okay, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I'm looking very much forward to tomorrow. It will be very good. I think that was all the things I had on my agenda for today. I don't know if this felt very celebrating. I don't know if that's even something you might say. But I have celebrated with cake, so that has to be enough, I guess. Or I don't know. But thank you all for watching this live stream, and happy Eurovision Day tomorrow. I found Eurovision to be more fun when everyone sang in their own language. I fully disagree, or I just don't have an opinion. I do like when the countries have like a special, like when Norway has Norwegian all written all over it, but it doesn't have to be sung in Norwegian as long as you can listen to the track and hear that it's in Norwegian, I guess, if that made sense. But we all have our preferences, so. But as I was saying, thank you so much for watching this live stream. It felt good having a live stream again, and I'll see you in the next video, I hope. So, happy Eurovision Day once more. So, bye!